Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping resumed their bromance struck in April at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, as they toured the Forbidden City with their wives. The palace complex in the political and cultural heart of Beijing is a regular stop for visiting dignitaries. It is rare that a Chinese leader gives a personal escort, confirmation of the state visit plus treatment that China had promised for Trump. His arrival came after a speech to the South Korean parliament in which Mr. Trump urged China to further isolate North Korea. The White House sees China as pivotal in reining in the North's nuclear aims, but Beijing says it is doing enough. Trump has threatened action over China's wide trade surplus with the United States and called on Beijing to do more to rein in ally and neighbor North Korea, but has expressed admiration for Xi, calling him a friend, and held off on imposing trade measures. Before leaving for Beijing, Trump cited China, North Korea's main trading partner, as one of the countries that must fully enforce international sanctions against Pyongyang and downgrade diplomatic and commercial ties. To those nations that choose to ignore this threat or, worse still, to enable it, the weight of this crisis is on your conscience, he said. He painted a dystopian picture of the reclusive North, saying people were suffering in gulags and some bribed government officials to work as slaves overseas rather than live under the government at home. He offered no evidence to support those accusations. Trump's return to harsh, uncompromising language against North Korea came a day after he appeared to dial back the rhetoric. On Tuesday, Trump had even offered a diplomatic opening to Pyongyang to make a deal. In his speech in Seoul, Trump stopped short of repeating the derisive nickname Little Rocket Man that he has used to describe the young North Korean leader. Kim, for his part, has called Trump mentally deranged. The speech came after Trump's attempt to make an unannounced visit to the heavily fortified border separating North and South Korea was aborted when dense fog prevented his helicopter from landing, officials said. Trump tried to travel to the Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, the doorstep of the North Korean nuclear standoff near the end of a 24-hour visit to Seoul. White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders said Trump was frustrated at having to abandon the trip. A visit to the DMZ, despite his aide's earlier insistence he had no plans to go there, would have had the potential to further inflame tensions with North Korea. In China, Trump will try to convince Xi to squeeze North Korea further with steps such as limits on oil exports and financial transactions. It is not clear if Xi, who has just consolidated his power at a Communist Party Congress, will agree to do more. China has repeatedly said its leverage over Pyongyang is exaggerated by the West and that it is already doing all it can to enforce sanctions. Trump and his wife Melania were greeted at Beijing's airport by a military band playing a festive tune and school children jumping up and down and waving American and Chinese flags. They descended from a red-carpeted staircase rolled up to the main door of Air Force One. That was in contrast to a 2016 visit to China by his predecessor, Barack Obama, who was forced to exit his plane from the lower door, in what was seen as a snub.